let's talk to Milton Cheng, who's the Global Chair of Baker MacKenzie, about whether he's finding things frosty at this WEF, or if you're getting a warmer feeling. Great to see you. Glad you came.
Hello, Juliet. Well, glad to be here, despite -12. Look, I've had a really interesting few days here. Had the opportunity to be on a couple of panels, one for another network about China's reopening, and one just this morning on geography of diversity, talking about how organizations manage diversity across a global platform. But, it's one thing that struck me in the discussions and the events that I've been able to attend is that even though people have had their differences in recent months and years, there is a strong desire to cooperate on tackling climate change, on embracing and adapting to technology, and on building an inclusive global economy despite differences.
So you think things are warming up, but I wanted to talk about in terms of where you're doing business, because you've said before that China's a market not to be ignored, although things didn't play out as you expected in 2022. So what's your take on China's economic and investment potential now, especially now it's opening up?
Well, you'll have heard this from others as well. China's reopening up to the world, I think, will be probably the single biggest economic event for this year. I am very optimistic, as I said on my panel a couple of days ago. The Chinese market, the consumer market, is huge potential. We're already seeing with our client work, clients contacting us to revive deals, both going into China and coming out of China. So we're feeling optimistic.
Now, the theme, as we've been discussing, of the summit is cooperation in a fragmented world. But when you look at issues like the US's Inflation Reduction Act and the chip war against China, the world doesn't feel that cooperative, does it?
Well, look, we've been around for more than 70 years. We are committed to globalization. We feel that at Baker MacKenzie, our role is to help build bridges across cultures, across differences, and to help dialogue, help interpretation. I think whether or not there are differences in values, systems, and so on, there is an underlying need that's recognized for cooperation because trade, cooperation across markets ultimately is win-win. So it's a question of finding what is that way.
You mentioned climate as being a big thread that's running through Davos. The IEA here said that the political will to tackle climate crises is lacking. Do you think it's lacking? Well,
I think my views have become less worried after these few days. In some of the discussions I had, I think I'm encouraged to see that there is clear dialogue. Now, of course, people may disagree, sometimes a difference of opinion as to the way to go about it, Inflation Reduction Act or other things that are happening. But there is an underlying recognition, especially after our experience from the last couple of years, that this must be tackled.
And what about in opportunities? What's the focus for you this year? Supply chain restructuring, energy transition, healthcare?
All of the above. Supply chain restructuring, and all of the above, also digital transformation. I think my focus for the next 12 months at least is sort of the 3 Res: Reglobalization, the return to work, and recession. Now, on the first and the third, I think we are well placed. We feel we're hedged with our broad practice. On return to work, I think all of us know that we have to be more flexible, and that's how we're going to try and approach it this year.
Milton Cheng, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Milton Cheng.